them when you're playing it.
Interesting. Yeah, you gotta find new creative solutions to teams that are, let's face it, some of the best in the world. All right, game number 1 between these two squads. We are in the losers bracket now, so win or go home territory. Of course, these teams are competing for so much. We talked about it all broadcast, but championship points, prize pool, a paid invite to the top 16 of EUIC. So much on the line for these squads, and they're just starting their journey in losers right now.
And then, of course, just the momentum. But here we go already. Overlord. Oh, just saying, get away from me. I'm trying to stack. Leave me alone. And finally, Slash coming back in for that support. But in fact, there's already some stacks in. You can tell there's like a little bit of mutual respect, but no mutual respect here when they're just going to be kind of punching each other over here in the top half.
Yeah, you can take that time if you're Luminosity to get a bit of this early farm when you're not worried about OG picking you up and throwing you all over the place. So Overlord a bit comfortable in that scenario. Black trying to race back towards their own goal zone, but zugrug going to cut them off and earn that level 4 evolution. Noticeably Kyriaos, not Sylveon quite yet. As I say it, they do find that evolution, but a bit of a slow turn for Luminosity Gaming on these EVs so far.
Right, yeah, especially the fact that the Sylveon was the one that doesn't have EXP share. You kind of wanted it to be earlier. It did just get a little bit of a boost right there, and it's going to get some more goals in, so things starting to catch up. But so far, nothing really super offensive from either side. I feel like they're starting to feel each other out. Again, I mean, first of all, you're playing against Luminosity. They are the double world champion team out of 2 world championships, so you definitely do not want to rush things against them. And then Luminosity's got to look at GT and be like, hold on, they've beaten us like 9 out of 10 times that we've played them in tournament in UCS. Let's take this a little slow.
Yeah, we really do need to get the definitive number at some point, but OG now hitting that level 5 obviously has a lot more they can throw around. Espo going to have that focus band, allows them to escape all the way back to that home goal zone. And look at this very, very crowded 8-minute middle fight. Jungle Book going to immediately get those icicle shards, throw them in, and Luminosity Gaming getting all of the experience. GT playing very, very safe.
That was like looking like a Rayquaza fight for a second. I was like, wait a minute, who's initiating here? But no, they just managed to get the farm. Nobody really actually going for any KOs. We've seen a lot of just straight up fighting today. This feels like the safest game by a gigantic margin, which is also why we've been 4 points in. It's just been a ton of tiny scores that are going uncontested.
And with GT's composition, that makes a ton of sense. You were waiting for Gardevoir and Blastoise to be a relevant threat before you ever want to get these fights started. On Luminosity Gaming side, it's coming as a bit of a surprise to me. However, we are seeing that top path play that is so famous for Luminosity Gaming. They love double downing right near that 7-minute mark on that top side, and even really stalling that bottom side Reggie fight to allow Overlord to get close to level 9 or as much as they can get it.
Well, this is a first big push. Love the sound of the mean look boom. That's one of my favorite sounds in the game, but still not actually that heavy of a push. And I do have to say, I'm a little bit, I don't want to say worried, but I'm interested as to why Luminosity isn't pushing even harder early on, because they have a team that is fully evolved like 1 minute into the game, right? You have nothing past that. You're good, basically. And the other side has a bunch of multi-evolutions, especially ones that scale really well into late game, and you kind of want to shut them down. So playing pretty safe here could be a mistake. We'll see if it comes back to bite.
Bit of a slow and steady angle, it seems, as Overlord throws in the Bone Rush. Power-up punch not good enough to secure it, as Stockings is going to secure the Regice, and, of course, Espo going to take the last hit onto zugrug. So Overlord swings in with one of the best secure tools. However, Capital Magic was probably body blocked by GT. The one downside of Power-up punch with Lucario, unlike Wicked Blow on Urshifu, is it can actually be stopped by an opposing Pokemon. So good placement by GT by just getting their big old bodies in front of the objective.
Yeah, if you're doing that against Urshifu, you're just giving them a double KO on top of a Reggie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do good, smart stuff, but also not everybody's practicing that much. The big fairy singularity that completely whiffs. They want to take down Overlord. Everybody is chasing, but nobody can quite catch. Great mobility. We are going to land that Moonblast, but the Glacial Stage to counter, and the counter push. Umbreon coming in from the top as well. The spin's coming out, but we are going to see the Exeter start to split everybody up. Overlord very, very far back as well, and nobody on GT is all that hurt quite yet. It looks like it's going to be Eggnewb first primarily. Wow, gets the KO KO with the Rock Tomb, as 3 members of Luminosity are going to be engaging from the northwest, but they're not going to be pushing all that much further. They really wanted the damage from Overlord. The fact they're not going to get it, they say, we don't want to take this fight.
That's the Espo and Eggnewb show. You have a Gardevoir who gets caught out by a Lucario. Fear not, we have Bliss Assistance, which of course gives you a lot of shields, healing some damage buffs, but it also redirects damage to that Blissey, who's going to absorb everything that Lucario is going to throw. Intelligent play by the Espo, and of course Eggnewb's Crustle doing a great job of splitting that fight, and of course in the end taking the knockout onto the Lucario like you mentioned.
Obviously we know these players, but it's criminal that the player named Eggnewb is not the one playing the Blissey. I think they need to just change names as players because, you know, it just feels fair.
Well, let's get the noob off the eggs, you know? Let's get Espo, the true master, out of that Blissey, even though Eggnewb, I believe in regionals in Season 1 had a pretty amazing Blissey to see. But all right, we have our next set of Reggies on the field. Luminosity Gaming, really the only ones to show favor towards that Reggie. Like, Buzzwell gets involved, but this bot side, really where Fart's fight is about to start. Zugrug getting a couple of stunts with that Snarl, and Junglebook takes down OG on the top side.
Ooh, the Moonlight coming in to try and just keep these two up. They have so much disdain, but there's just so much damage coming in from both sides. And now we're going to see Overlord chase down Stockings. Stockings going down to, I believe, that Unite move. The Aura Cannon coming out from the Lucario is trying to clean up everything here. Only one player left. It is going to be Eggnewb, but using the Unite might be able to steal away this Registeel with some nice timing. And actually does. That is incredible. Is going to be able to make it out of there as well. All right, definitely changing the name to Egg Pro at least.
Yeah, there we go. So Rumble Rouser's Unite move, obviously you can see the X-Scissor and auto attack wasn't in time to secure that basement Reggie. However, Rumble Rouser grazes rocks around Eggnewb that float around and actually do damage. So that's where we see that last hit secure on the bottom side. However, I don't think Lucario or Overlord can be too upset about that specific engagement since they were able to take out Stockings and bait out her Unite move.
Yeah, that's at least going to be nice. But of course, it will be back up in time for the 2-minute mark, which is, I feel now, what we're going to be targeting towards. We are going to get a pretty nice overdunk up on this top tier 1, which is going to barely give GT the lead. Overlord still just fighting down on the bottom. Why is Eggnewb just running forward? What? Just managed to get the KO. That's the answer. That's why. Does manage to trade 1-for-1. Junglebook coming in from the side, which honestly would have taken out probably a much higher HP Crustle at that point. But that's definitely a trade still that you really, really want. Overlord, very well known for being kind of the EXP funnel, the star, I don't know, like they play around Overlord. So the more you KO Overlord, the better chance you have a win.
Absolutely. I love watching Eggnewb chase out that KO. They get the Resonant Guard shield, which gives them just enough HP to really hang. And then, of course, with a Gardevoir ready to do damage at any moment, the second that Overlord stops in place, that psychic damage is just too much on the side of Stockings. They would have immediately got KO'd. But another set of objectives are going to be arriving, and like so far this match, another Regieleki appears, another Luminosity Gaming push for it. However, Black has arrived on this top side. Rapid Spin not going to be available in that gravity, and what Water Spout is, and GT steal another objective, and they're getting some bot side scores as they break that bottom tier 1, and GT going to be headed to this final stretch right now with a very solid lead and a Regieleki walking.
And immediately GT looks like they're holding a forward position. They're getting some picks here, and immediately we're going to go down to a 5v3 before the fight even begins. Zugrug getting caught off behind as well, cut off from basically everywhere that they could want to be. Kyriaos is going to be stuck in the very, very far corner as Overlord's just going to get focused down. This initiation is not working out at all for Luminosity, but GT has the lead. What will they do? Will they choose to continue burning down this Rayquaza as the members of LG start to funnel back in?
Huge Fairy Singularity does grab Slash with their Unite move, gives them enough HP to bounce back. Black KOs them on the other side. Zugrug's walking with a gigantic shield. I have to assume they stole quite a bit of that. And Rayquaza almost brought down to a third of HP. However, they have Junglebook to secure. They, of course, have Lucario showing back up. Unite move streaks through, not going to find it. Ray is brought down by GT. And with all 5 members earning Rayquaza shields, GT is most likely going to be starting this match 1-0.
An amazing way that they played that. They started burning and then they stopped. And as they stopped, you saw the Aura Cannon just fly in from the left and trying to get that steal, which was honestly great timing if they'd continued to burn it down. But GT altered their timing so incredibly perfectly. They fought that last fight so well. They got the picks, everything about the final 2 minutes with the side of GT. And The bracket demon for Luminosity continues to be that way, at least for a game. This is not the end of the set, but GT, who has already knocked Luminosity down to losers, is going to go up one game on them, unless we see some sort of miracle in 20 seconds.
Yeah, GT having a phenomenal team fight. Of course, their competition a lot better suited at these big, huge moments with the Hydro Typhoon or even the Gardevoir Unite move. But Luminosity's composition built to kind of take these scrappy fights all over the map. Lucario can hang with basically anybody. Sylveon and Glaceon also having that amount of respect on them. However, it's GT who capitalizes on the strength of their team comp and begins this match 1-0. GT, what a showing.
An amazing showing. There's a reason why they were my prediction, but Doob Snacks, Spraggles, what does Luminosity have to do to shake off this curse? We're going into the game number 2, last chance potentially here for Luminosity. I mean, if they win, they got to win one more, but if they lose, they are going home for sure, and GT will have double eliminated them from the tournament. Of course, Luminosity, the most successful team in all of Pokemon Unite history with 2 out of 2 World Championships, so GT, that would be a great statement. Not that they haven't probably done it before.
Right, and LG having also multiple monthly cups behind their name as well. The only thing, GT just at a 2nd place finish last year was their best performance throughout the season. Obviously trying to shake that up. Overlord and Slash trying to score as many times as they can. The Florgato is sporting the attack weight, so we're going to be trying to score that up as much as possible. And wow, despite GT's track record, 53% of Twitch chat agreeing with the Luminosity picks.
Yeah, there's a lot of Luminosity fans in the chat. Understandable, especially for NA players. You know, they've been our representative at Worlds. It's pushed all the way through. And, oh no, Espozitto is not in a good spot right now. Just trying to waddle away on those cute little pink feet, but not able to make it. By the way, we didn't really get a chance to talk about this much, but this is the Stockings Mew, right?
Yeah, Stockings Mew, and they played through Central on our first rip. So leaving Black to the bottom side, which they did last game as well. After this first rotation, we got to see an adaptation between Black and Stockings switching around. But yes, Central Area Mew can be an impactful Pokemon. It just feels like it's a little lackluster compared to how many other options we see. And another switch up, Eggnewb on the Scald.
I love Scald personally, especially depending on who you're up against. Scald here is actually a little bit of an interesting choice.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Scald up against the Buzzwoles currently, but when you have the Buzzwole, I'm interested to see exactly what it's supposed to target. But regardless, I love Scald. I'm a big fan of kind of all the alternate movesets from Slowbro. But here we go. We're going to see Slash try to get maybe a little bit of a check at least to see what's going on down here, and probably not going to be able to get all that much out of it.
Yeah, if they can take away that wild Pokemon, of course, they will prevent Espo from hitting level 4 and evolving, but going into with Blastoise and a Chansey at the time, very difficult task for Clefable to come away with that last hit secure. And we do got to take a look into the top at the levels. Level 6 on the Meowscarada, level 5 on the Buzzwole. So OG having a bit of a slower start than we saw last game, and of course LG really starting out strong.
Yeah, they're about at one level, I think, ahead across the board, right? Even their center area Pokemon is 8 to 7 currently, but this is a pretty big push, and we'll see if they can get much off of it. The combination of the Scald on top of all of the damage from the Mew is actually pretty significant. I expect, especially with Eggnewb, we're going to see a pretty high damage game coming out of that Slowbro, which is a wild thing to say, but it's not unexpected.
It might be necessary, actually. If there was anything that GT's composition would be lacking, I might actually lean into the damage. They don't have any true Pokemon that deal a ton of damage. Blastoise, of course, can, but has a few prerequisites to be able to actually pull that off. And Buzzwole, of course, can do a ton of damage, but they're more looking for big KO finishes. So seeing a Scald Slowbro might be indicative of what their composition might be lacking, and great coverage by Eggnewb.
Now we may have a fight for this Regirock down here in the basement. It's a 3v3, 4v3 now. If we can see any of these Unites come out, Hyou does have one, and it does look like it's going to be able to get away from that spin fight. Oh no, so that was the Mew, there we go. The initiation coming in, Stockings now in a really unfortunate spot, getting mean looked, not going to be able to escape, no saviors there. But Regirock, surprisingly, completely undamaged, just walking back, saying, all right, why don't you all fight with each other instead of me? I'm just trying to enjoy my time. Here's the chance, though. We can get a steal. We are going to see Overlord running from the back, and like you mentioned, you can get a lot of burn on objectives from Meowscarada, depending on what you choose or do not choose.
Yeah, they're opting into Flower Trick this time, which of course is an incredible team fight tool. If that Flower Trick, the little flower bomb we see above the enemy Pokemon heads on GT side, if it takes the KO, it resets the cooldown and allows you to reuse that move. It's not like Mimikyu's Shadow Sneak, where if the Pokemon is knocked out in general, it resets, but if Meowscarada is the one to do the job, then we will see Overlord get multiple Flower Tricks within a team fight. And that is so strong, especially with a player the caliber of Overlord.
Right, and now this is looking a lot more like what they want to happen. They're popping off, but this is going to be a fight with this Regieleki. BlackCH getting extremely low. Eject funding in with the Hydro Type, we're only going to manage to hit one. OG, though, going to follow it up completely regardless. The Glacial stage going to come out, really stop that push in its tracks from Jungle Book. And now, especially with that beam, that was actually a really nice way to stop them from potentially pushing. I don't think they have the sustain, or at least right now, to be able to fully heal this up. But I guess there's just not enough members of GT to defend this. So they have plenty of time. The Unite's going to come out from Stockings to try and stop this, but not in time. Moonlight is one good move, let me tell you.
Yeah, great coverage by Luminosity to make sure that doesn't get too wild. Overlord chasing down Stockings. Flower Trick deals almost half their HP, but they are able to escape. Espo going to be constantly healing their team up. And despite Luminosity breaking both these school zones, actually only sitting at 207, and wow, Fable called out. Very, very slow follow-up from GT, but they are going to take that KO. Zugrug thinks better of taking that fight. Overlord, on the other hand, really wants to brawl, leaves the double team Mimic within that fight, and escapes back.
Yeah, I like that. This is scary without your Clefable, and they really want it to come back, which is exactly what's happening. Which you see there. I love the little pictures and pictures up there. We're going to see a little bit of a dunk up top coming from the Buzzwole, just playing its own game, you know, trying to pop off, trying to get strong.
And finally getting those attack weight stacks in. I mean, Overlord is a very tough opponent to try to play path against it. Well, OG took a little bit longer to really scale up to the damage they wanted to be at. Now they are at that moment. They have to be able to stack all 6 scores in. But Overlord is just racking up these knockouts everywhere. Like, it doesn't matter where GT is positioned. That Slowbro was all the way down their own path, and Overlord was still getting the chase down knockout. I don't think Black's going to be able to get away from this one either.
I mean, hey, anything can happen here, but no, once we get the one more reset on the moves from Jungle Book, yeah, that is going to be that. Almost managed to get a nice little pick on Overlord, but just use the Unite at the kind of last chance that they're going to be able to. Get the fly out of the Unite from the Clefable to try and get this big jump. The Unite defensively, kind of, from the Espionage, kind of offensively as well. I mean, it kind of works for both. It's going to give them a numbers advantage, and Stockings the only one left for GT. Yeah,
Luminosity Gaming playing a very similar composition to what we saw in the previous match. Of course, Lucario and Meowscarada filling the different roles. However, the rest of the roster, very, very similar, but a way better performance from Luminosity Gaming so far. Now, GT have found some scoring opportunities in that top side as of recently, and have brought this scoreline much closer. However, the way Luminosity has been playing as of recent, especially in these back 5 minutes, have been incredible, even in the team fight department. So, GT is going to have to really show up with some big plays if they want to take Luminosity by surprise.
Yeah, one big weakness as we're seeing this Regieleki go down uncontested that I think Luminosity's team last game had is that they didn't have as great team fight potential, but I think switching to the Espeon is really big there because that Unite can be game-changing. On top of now a few other really strong Unites that team has. Obviously, we've got to see what the Fable ends up rolling, but I do feel like they have a lot better chance when we get to those final few minutes. However, I still think the team fight capability of GT, if they land everything, might be a little bit stronger.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting choice for Zugrug on this Umbreon. That Moonlit Prance, that Unite move from them can steal so many enemy shields, and they're going to be trying to steal either the Slowbro, the Blastoise, or the Blissy's shield. Optimally, all 3, but I don't think a team like GT is going to use all 3 of those Unite moves when they know that Zugrug is still available. It's a great countermeasure, but there's a lot of things that they're going to need to answer. A big amount of responsibility on this team fight is going to fall on Zugrug.
2 minutes left, potentially Luminosity's last chance here if they want to qualify for the Aeos Cup, automatically get that travel reward, but they've got a lead, they've got a level lead, they've got the only level 14 on board. Looks like they're going to get a little bit of pokes. That is GT getting melted. They took so much extra little damage right there, but can they get the full initiation on them?
Yeah, good patience by GT to not drop any Unite moves in that scenario. There we go, max range Blitz Assistance following the Blastoise all the way to the backside, and it is a Clefable Unite move. One shield gone, but unstoppable. Thor Slash keeps them up and running. Zugrug steals some shields from the backline. Now GT caught in a tough spot. Espo does go down. Kyriaos gets that KO, but Zugrug also knocked out. Eggnewb able to find one, and we're going to kind of reset this fight, but not if Overlord has anything to say about it. They're going to try to chase down these KOs.
This reset is so advantageous for Luminosity because of Moonlight. They just instantly heal back to full. As you can see, members of GT still not fully healed from that little engagement, and GT is the one that has to make the next move. They've got to force this game. 1 minute left, and they're down by just a few points, but it's a big few points, and they're going to be the first ones to move in.
Yeah, they grab the Clefable with that Unite move. That means Slash is going to go down. Black takes that KO. Buzzwole does get a super swole slam, but no KOs found. Light Screen does prevent Overlord from getting into the backline, but it doesn't matter. They just wait till it's gone, and then follow up with all of their damage as LG are dispatching every single member from GT. Only one walking away from that fight is Espo as they attempt to backcap, but the rest of Luminosity Gaming are just going to chase down these Thors.
And those are a lot of Hundo Burgers. That is probably unrecoverable. Once Luminosity got that reset, got their heal back to full, and ended up with more resources, it just didn't seem like GT had a chance. So we've seen a lot of 2-0s on broadcast today, but not this time. Luminosity is going to be tying things up 1-1 against GT in the lower bracket.
Ooh, this is going to be a competitive series. Obviously, it has been so far. And in the end, the Slowbro Unite move goes on to Clefable to try to swing an entire team fight their direction. They fall a little bit short. Meowscarada able to walk away for free and deal a ton of damage in return. You see the MVP crown above Overlord right now. But let's throw it back over to the desk. Spraggles and Tube Snacks, let's talk about Game 2.
Well, you gotta...
Strong effect, but here we go. We are in the losers semifinals to make it into the top 3. Only one of these teams can make it, GT or Luminosity, the reigning double world champions. And only one of them is going to make it to the top 3 to potentially fight their way to the end.
This is a weird thing to say, but this might be the 2 weakest bottom paths early I've ever seen. We have Ralts Trevenant, who are going to be very, very weak early, and then we have Russell Shandor, who also are not great at getting last hits secure. So it's a bit of a handshake. They'll be like, let's just play fun stuff, and we'll evolve and really throw down later, which is kind of cool.
Pokemon that could very easily be in the center area. By the way, nobody's in the center area right now. They farmed half of each center area and then just immediately left, which obviously that does make sense in a lot of situations. It's just funny that so quickly both teams are just out of there.
Yeah, shout out Evolutions, you know? They really get you a lot of value, namely the split central area play from GT, and Luminosity, I think, is just more of a preventative measure. We have the Espeon, I believe it's Jungle Book's playing that Pokemon, takes just one buff and then shows back up to make sure that OG's Leafeon can't go too crazy early.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that Kyriaos on the Litwick right now didn't actually take more of that once they kind of half farmed that center area. But it's going to get plenty of EXP at least just with the assistance there of Jungle Book. And Zugrug, unfortunately, still a very cute little unevolved.
You say unfortunate. That Rock Slide move is so incredibly strong. I mean, I think they're going to be totally fine playing around that. Stockings barely making it back towards that goal zone. And yeah, you were correct. I was wrong. The Sylveon is in the hands of Stockings. Gardevoir this time being played by BlackCH.
Wow, you see, I changed my mind later in that draft. We'll just pretend I didn't say that.
Correct.
And that I was smart. But I suppose it probably also depends on I mean, there's so much it depends on. I do like this, though. The Hyper Voice. We've seen a good amount of Hyper Voice today, more than I thought we were going to end up seeing.
Yeah, it's a great move, especially when it reduces that defense. So this Sylveon Gardevoir is actually quite a common pair in North America. Every Hyper Voice tick, I think up to 4, shreds that special defense and makes them so susceptible to special attack damage, and that's when your Gardevoir swings through and does so much more damage than you would expect.
Makes you just explode, basically.
Yes, correct.
You just close your eyes, you blink your eyes, and suddenly you're back at the home base. But yeah, right now, Overlord, of course, sticking up top. We've got basically not a huge amount of aggression. We're pretty far into this game already and only 8 points scored. That doesn't mean that GT, though, for sure doesn't have any stacks if they're stacking. And right now, they're giving kind of free reign to stack up here to Overlord, which I feel like is a pretty scary thing to do on what is considered one of the strongest Pokemon right now. I mean, I don't know. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering where GT was at that moment. They're playing for the mid-burns. Maybe they just took a really long time clearing those, but Luminosity takes full advantage of that scenario and gets in quite a few scores, and now already moved themselves up to a score line of 43. And we're going to get that even higher with more Buzzwole stacks. As Overlord almost at level 8. This top half Sylveon catching up slowly, but level 6 while being 2 levels behind Luminosity Gaming's top path player. That's dangerous territory.
Yeah, and just from what we've seen, I'm assuming Overlord is probably fully stacked already, which is a pretty scary thing to see because we've seen 3 to 4 at least on stream already. Oh, wow, that was a really fast melt on that ice Pokemon. And on top of that, the tree as well. Two things very vulnerable to fire, so they just got burned down for sure. Right now, just trying to escape this poor Leafeon. It is really fast, so it's going to be able to get out of there pretty well, but that was just a lot of damage all at once.
It's a lot of damage. They have good secure thanks to that Espeon, and honestly, the anti-dive out of Luminosity Gaming is incredible. It's a great answer to Leafeon. So GT's first pick in their draft, right? We have Crustle, who is bulky and tough to take down. We are running Imprison on that Chandelure, and then of course Clefable doing so well there. Black with the solo Unite move onto Overlord, but now they have to 1v1 Jungle Book, who's got that Regice buff, and of course Slash is going to join the fray as well. Black chooses KO1 Pokemon, but then gets deleted by the rest of the teammates.
Yeah, again, we've just seen GT put so much emphasis on trying to take down Overlord no matter what. Wow, that was not in time. That's unfortunate. And now without that protection, they are going to be going down as well. So this is looking very strong for Luminosity early in this game. Although, when you actually look at the levels, they're not really ahead by that much.
Yeah, but having so much objective pressure is definitely helping them out so far. It could be pushed into a score lead as well, with Regieleki being captured and sent down path. GT's composition, very susceptible to this Imprison Chandelure combo. I mean, they don't have Mean Look on their table, but they have something very, very strong as well. If an Evolution is trapped in that, very, very difficult to make it out.
Oh, the big Unite coming out just to try and continue to push this in. But we did see the Fairy Singularity. I think that was what that was, to try and counter it. Regardless, it's not going to matter in the end. Maybe that wasn't Fairy Singularity. I actually did not know what move that was. There was a lot of effects right on top of each other, but there's no Gardevoir in sight. Regardless, the point is that Tier 2 goal zone is down. There's a 163-point lead for the side of Luminosity, and every Regieleki running down path is going to be extremely scary.
Yeah, this is worrisome. I mean, GT hasn't really had an answer for any of these targets. If their dive doesn't really work out, then they have nothing else to fall back on. Black's been forced to solo Unite move a few targets, but maybe a Registeel buff could be the game difference maker they need. Zugrug, the only member from Luminosity Gaming getting involved, but that's still a threatening Pokemon. But Leafeon's Solar Blade, good enough to take that Registeel buff.
That experience, I feel like, is really important because they were starting to fall behind, but that's getting close to evening them up. They just have such a points disadvantage. I feel like, really, GT at this point, they don't have the opportunity to really push down too many gold zones, so they might just need to focus on farming EXP as much as possible, scaling into the late game, which they can do very well with the Gardevoir, and then just trying to dominate the late fight.
Oh, it's so scary to do this, though, when you're this far behind in points. You want to translate some of these big pushes or early KOs into some goal scoring opportunities, but Luminosity Gaming playing so safe, so defensive, and relying a lot on Kyriaos' Chandelure to really hold down the fort.
Oh, here, this is actually a potential really big fight over basically nothing over here in center, but we are going to see Slash just kind of walk away from that, saying, no, actually, I don't want to get picked. Wait, going back in, that's a lot of aggression, trying to be the initiator, but just immediately gets melted, and we're going to actually see Unite come out from the Trevenant to try and get a counter push. They do want to push down this Tier 1, it looks like, as Kyriaos is trying to back up Jungle Book, both with the ability to do a ton of damage. That was a gigantic Unite coming out from Jungle Book. The turnaround, getting 3 KOs, 4 KOs, potentially a full team wipe. I think it's just a matter of time, and there we go. Full team wipe off the back of a beautiful Jungle Book Unite.
Yeah, so good to stop that push in its tracks. The Trevenant Unite was really solid. Hit so many targets all at once. However, the Espeon locking them in place gave Kyriaos just enough room to capitalize with the damage. Great play between these two special attackers in our game. And Luminosity Gaming with a very, very strong lead. We're only a minute away from the final stretch.
Yeah, that really pushed them considerably further ahead. This last Regieleki really needs to go to the side of GT, but Luminosity could try and defend it. They don't have that much. Oh, that was a really good attempt. I actually thought that was going to happen. So they could potentially break down this Tier 1 if they really wanted to, especially, I mean, I guess they don't know, but there's 3 members down on bottom that are taking this Registeel pretty freely. Nobody's going to get there in time, and that is a great role for them.
The plot armor discussion was happening earlier. I mean, Registeel right before final stretch, so strong. However, Regieleki did land, so GT going to be able to get a few scores in, but only breaking with 16, so not a huge overdunk by any means, and GT just going to be taking the points where they can get them. Final stretch beginning, Luminosity Gaming with a huge team advantage. GT's win conditions are available. Obviously, a lot of it depends if OG can finally step up. I feel like this Leafeon has been taking objectives. We have not found a lot of KOs from them at all this game.
Yeah, getting one big pick. Like, if you can manage to get Jungle Book off the table, I think you just auto-win the team fight, basically. Or Kyriaos. You know, there's some great targets, but you just got to find the targets. And right now, oh my goodness, you do not want to peek that. There's a lot of damage on the side of Luminosity's team, and they're holding a really nice position, and you got to watch out for those rock tombs as well. One misposition, and you are donezo.
All right, a great play by Eggnewb to take some space. However, Leafeon is able to find that buzz wall and walk away from that engagement. So no Unite moves used in that scenario. Eggnewb is going all in. A Unite move used to try to trap zugrug in place, and a few Unite moves together make it work. A great play by OG in the backline. However, they can't find a way to KO Slash. The Unite move, too much shielding going the other direction. It's a trade, 1-for-1. Both tanks are eliminated, and the teams are retreating. However, LG, all based on the top side of this Rayquaza, have not started hitting it yet, playing for their lead.
Oh, and you got to see the reset. Yeah, that's a strange positioning right there. And we're going to see GT get really pushed on right here, immediately losing the Blissey, and that is not one that you want to lose. BlackCH getting very, very low, getting chased down. Oh no, the follow me. BlackCH is going to be able to get away just slightly, but getting walled out so effectively with 37 seconds left. Something huge needs to happen from the side of GT, but multiple of their members are not going to be up even in time, and this feels like they just do not have the time available to make this comeback.
Oh, GT really had one shot in that final fight when Leafeon was able to get into that backline. Clefable's Unite move, earning them some shield, and Luminosity Gaming holding strong. And yes, GT might be their kryptonite, but Luminosity Gaming finally finding an answer, and they are going to take down GT and move on to our losers finals.
That's great for them. They now no longer have to fight anybody that's defeated them in this bracket. It is entirely now in their own hands. Even if they've got to reset the bracket, if they want to win the entire thing, I feel like they are there. So great job to Luminosity. They're going to be moving forward. And let's get a recap from Dubsnax and Spragues.
Well, Dubsnax,